I am Professor Shiva Panchakshari. At the outset, I welcome you to this session on binary frequency shift keying, that is BFSK. In digital communication, there are three basic modulation schemes: amplitude shift keying, phase shift keying, and frequency shift keying. In amplitude shift keying and phase shift keying, the frequency content of the transmitted signal remains same throughout the operation. Hence, those two schemes are treated as linear modulation schemes. But binary FSK is a non-linear modulation technique because in this technique, the frequency content of the transmitted signal changes from symbol to symbol. So let us go for more information on binary phase shift keying in this session. So today's session will include few basic concepts of FSK through which we can understand what is FSK. In FSK, we study binary FSK as a special case. So afterwards, we understand the signal constellation and signal space diagram of the FSK. Also, this discussion includes the generation and coherent detection of FSK signal. If you look into the definition part of FSK signal, FSK is one of the digital modulation technique. It is nonlinear modulation technique in which the frequency of the carrier signal, also called basis function, is varied in accordance with changes in input digital signal. So we have understood that in FSK, the frequency of the carrier signal is of our interest. The other two characteristics of the carrier signal, that is amplitude and phase, are kept constant. Since the amplitude of the FSK signal is kept constant, it is not easily affected by the noise because the noise is assumed to be additive in nature, AWGN. When the noise is added to the transmitted signal, so at the receiver, we remove the amplitude fluctuations using appropriate circuitry. So because the information is stored in the transmitted signal in the form of frequency variations. Okay. As I said, amplitude and phase of the FSK signal remain constant. Let us look into generalized block diagram of FSK modulator. Okay. It has two inputs. One is the digital signal, other one is carrier signal. In modulation, the digital information is transferred to the carrier signal by varying one of its characteristics. Right. In FSK, we vary the frequency content of the carrier signal in accordance with the digital signal. Digital signals are discrete, right? So they may contain a fixed number of symbols. If the number of symbols in the digital source are M, then the system is called M array digital system, right? And these M array or M number of digital symbols are represented by M discrete amplitude levels before modulation. These M number of discrete amplitude levels, which I have denoted here as A1, A2 up to AM, are transferred to carrier signal in the form of variations in the frequency of the carrier signal. That means the amplitude level A1 is representing the frequency F1 of the carrier signal. Similarly, amplitude A2 is represented by the frequency F2 and so on. So the information which was in the form of voltage values or amplitude is converted to the frequency changes in the carrier signal, and later they are transmitted on the channel. And these signals, transmit signals, are denoted as S1 of t, S2 of t, and so on. In BFSK, the information symbols are 2. In MFSK, that is MREFSK, we find M number of symbols. So BFSK is treated as a special case of MFSK. So only 2 input symbols, symbol 1, symbol 2. And these 2 symbols are represented by 2 different signals of frequency F1 and F2, as I said. So accordingly, I'm going to define 2 useful signals for transmission, that is phi1 of t and phi2 of t. Phi1 and phi2 are selected keeping channel characteristics in mind. They are suitable for transmission over communication channel. Okay. Their frequency content, the frequency content of phi1 and phi2 are containing information. Hence, their amplitude remain same. Root EV will remain same for both the symbols. Now, I come to the mathematical definition of the BFSK signal. That is, the FSK signal is denoted as S of t, which can be either S1 of t or S2 of t, depending upon the symbol generated by the source, symbol 1 and symbol 0. For symbol 1, the signal what I had told that I have selected carefully, phi1 of t, is now going to be a sinusoidal signal, cos 2 pi f1 t. Similarly, for the another symbol, it's going to be cos 2 pi f2 t. F1 and F2 are different frequency values. Let us look into the waveforms of binary FSK. As I said, we have here the input signal, which is called binary signal. This binary signal is having 2 discrete amplitudes. As I said in the beginning, in MRA system, M number of discrete amplitude levels are used. But in binary, only 2 amplitude levels are used. One is, let us assume one value is plus 1 volts, other value is 0. Okay. So I'm going for positive value and 0 value, which is similar to our OOK, on-off keying technique, that is unipolar signaling. Okay. The input binary sequence is represented by this train of rectangular pulses having positive pulse and 0 amplitude pulse. We use this 1 and 0 values for amplitude because just by multiplying the signal with this sinusoidal carrier, we try to get FSK, but it's not possible. But with a little bit modification we can do. What is that one is? When you multiply these 2, then 1 amplitude is multiplied with carrier signal remains same. Here 1 amplitude multiplied with carrier remains same. But this value is converted to 0. So this signal that is representing bit 0 is of different frequency. So we need to have 2 carrier signals. Here only 1 carrier signal is shown, just for an example. Similarly, there is going to be 1 more carrier signal of different frequency of this frequency, so that we should plan later in the transmitter that 1 should multiply carrier 1, 0 should multiply carrier 2, so that we get this waveform, right? One important information to be known at this point of time is, look at this. Even the frequency is changing, but at this point, the signal looks like continuous. Here also, the signal looks like continuous. The frequency is discretely changing, but the phase value, that is delay value, is continuous. Okay. So FSK is a non-linear modulation technique in which frequency abruptly changes from symbol to symbol or discretely changes, but the phase of the FSK varies linearly. So there is no discontinuity in the signal. There is no discontinuity in the signal, goes continuously till the end. So this makes the delay a linearly varying quantity. That means linear phase. The linear phase of the FSK signal is appreciable quantity for many reasons. So we have given one more waveform for better understanding. Look at this. As I said, I have chosen 1 volt for positive pulse, 0 volt for another pulse. Okay. So these 1 and 0s represent the sequence, and here is the final FSK signal. See, positive pulse, one frequency, 0 pulse, different frequency, positive pulse, same frequency. So here it is, duration is Z. This duration is 2 times this duration. That's why there's going to be 2 bit ones, and this is 1 0 1. So looking at this, you can easily understand how to write an FSK waveform. Here it is denoted as, this frequency is taken as F1 and this one is taken as F2. Let us look into the mathematical interpretation of FSK signal. Since we are using here two different frequencies to represent two different binary symbols, so we need two carriers, nothing but two basis functions. So FSK is two-dimensional modulation technique. The basis functions, what I was talking, are phi1 and phi2. So they are basically sinusoidal signals of frequency F1 and F2. Their amplitude remains same. So we know that root of 2 by TB is chosen to make this energy of this basis function unity. Okay. If you calculate the energy of this basis function with this amplitude, you will get 1. So keeping that in mind, this amplitude is chosen. Now, the equation for BFSK is given once again here. S1 of t representing one symbol with frequency F1, and this one is with frequency F2. So now let us introduce the symbols of phi1 and phi2 back into these equations of S of t. So here EB represent energy in 1 bit. TB is the duration of 1 bit. Okay. This energy in 1 bit duration can be obtained by multiplying this TB with the power P or PB. So power into time is going to be energy. So energy is calculated by multiplying TB with the power content of the particular symbol. So in this equation, we have introduced these two equations. Okay. The root of 2 by TB cos 2 pi f1 t is written as phi1 of t, phi2 of t. So we can see that the amplitudes are same, but the signals are different in frequency. So before we continue, I would like to stress upon one more point which is useful in solving numericals. This particular thing, okay, let me use annotations here and look at this. This value is the amplitude of S1 of t. Similarly, this one is the amplitude of S2 of t. Both of them are same. So the amplitude of the carrier signal here is taken as the same value, root of 2EB by TB. Okay. So in general case, we can write it as A, right? So now from this equation, we can find bit energy, that is EB. So cross multiplication gives you this equation, right? I'm going to find average carrier power, which is very much required for us. Average carrier power. And we know that average carrier power is obtained generally by squaring the signal, right? But here the signal contains a sinusoidal quantity. That's why amplitude is this value. So this value divided by root 2 will give you RMS value. Upon squaring, we'll get power. So it's going to be a square by 2. Okay, a by root 2 is RMS value of the signal, and squaring that one into a square by 2. That is the average value, average power value. So this a square by 2 here. This is the a square by 2. This a square by 2 is taken over here. So then, from here, if you leave a square by 2, you will end up with EB by T. So a square by 2 is also equal to EB by TB, right? A square by 2 is also equal to EB by T. So keep it in mind that average carrier power is given by a square by 2 or EB by TB. That is the ratio of energy by time. Energy by time is always equal to the power. Right. Yeah. Here, we know that there are two basis functions. Okay, there are two basis functions, phi 1 of t and phi 2 of t. Phi 1 of t and phi 2 of t. And these two basis functions are two carriers carrying the information. These two basis functions are chosen to represent two binary information. Accordingly, we get two signals. One is S1 of t, another one is S2 of t. Okay, so there are two signals of FSK, S1 of t and S2 of t, in which either phi 1 of t is used or phi 2 of t is used. That means the basis functions can be used to represent any of the information symbols. So now I would like to find out which signal contains which basis function. Okay, so what you can do that time is, right, you can do this. If S1 of t is containing phi 1 of t, then what happens? If S1 of t is containing phi 2 of t, then what happens? Let us check into this. Let us multiply S1 of t with phi 1 of t and integrate over 1 bit duration, right? So that time we get this equation. In place of S1 of t, I'm going to substitute root EB phi 1 of t. This is what the definition we made in the previous slide. So S1 of t is assumed to contain phi 1 of t with the amplitude of root EB. So phi 1 of t into phi 1 of t. So phi 1 into phi 1 square we will get, and we integrate this one. Root EB is a constant, so keep the root EB outside. So integration of phi 1 square is always 1 because phi 1 of t is a basis function. All basis functions are assumed to be orthonormal. That means they are orthogonal as well as normalized. Since they are orthogonal, whenever they are multiplied with itself and squared and integrated, we will always get number 1. So unit energy, because their energy is always 1. 1 into root EB is root EB. That means S1 of t contains phi 1 of t. Similarly, let us do the discussion with S2 of t. When S2 of t is multiplied with phi 1 of t, so definition of S2 of t is root EB phi 2 of t, but we are checking for phi 1 of t. So phi 2 into phi 1, integration always gives 0 because both the basis functions are orthogonal to each other, perpendicular to each other. Nothing but they have a phase shift of 90 degrees. That means they're independent of each other. That's why when two different basis functions or orthogonal signals are multiplied and integrated over a period, we will always get 0. This is the property of orthogonality. Right. So we come to the conclusion that S1 contains phi 1 of t, that is first basis function, but S2 does not contain phi 1 of t, that is going to give you 0. Similarly, when you do with other basis function phi 2 and phi 2. In S1 of t, we don't have phi 2, 0. So in S2 of t, we have phi 2. That's why we get the value root EB. Okay. So root EB, this first root EB is the signal component of S1 of t. The second root EB is the signal component of S2 of t. Okay. So both S1 of t and S2 of t are having same signal components, root EB and root EB, but they are having different basis functions. Okay. They do not have this. So that's why at the receiver, to identify the symbol transmitted, we always look into this aspect. Okay. We do the same thing with the received signal. So we multiply the received signal once with phi 1 of t and another time with phi 2 of t and we integrate it. That time, any one of these two, that is phi 1 of t or phi 2 of t, will produce large amount of output. So whichever produce large amount of output, that basis function is of our interest. Suppose when you multiply received signal with phi 1 of t, if you get more power, that means symbol 1 is transmitted. When you multiply with phi 2 of t, if you get more power or more energy, the symbol sent was 0. Okay. So this aspect is to be kept in mind. So accordingly, based on these outputs, I made signal vectors. Okay. For the first signal, first basis component is root EB, second basis component is 0. Here. For the second signal, first component is 0. That is first basis component. First basis component. Second basis component is root EB. Yes. Now we'll come to the signal space diagram. Let us transfer the signal components into Euclidean space, which is called by name signal space here. In the signal space, every point represents one single signal, right? Since we have two different signals in FSK, so we are going to identify two message points in the Euclidean space, which represent our signals. Okay. So let's go to previous one and see. The first signal, right? The first signal is having coordinates of root EB and 0. Root EB is phi 1 component, 0 is phi 2 component. So here, phi 1 component is root EB, phi 2 is 0. It doesn't. So this is the point representing message point 1, symbol 1. Similarly, second one is 0 root EB, reverse. Yeah, this one. So phi 1 component is 0, phi 2 component is root EB. So these 2 points, what I have marked, are representing 2 information signals, right? So the 2 message points lie on 2 different axes. So the 2 message points. First message point lie on phi 1 axis, second lie on phi 2 axis. So to establish decision boundary, I have taken this line, dotted line. This will divide the entire signal space into 2 equal parts. So this is taken as region 1 and this will be taken as region 2. In region 1, message point 1 false. Region 2, message point 2 false, right? So this is the voltage value with which signal is transmitted for symbol 1. But at the receiver, due to noise effect, this point may be shifted like this way up to 0 point. So even though it is shifting, changing due to noise anywhere on this axis, my decision still remains in favor of message point 1, right? Similarly, it's true for message point 2. But if this point shift this side of the boundary line, that is the other side of the boundary line, that time we may decide in favor of bit 0, that is symbol 0, that leads to error. Similarly, it is true for this message symbol also. So this boundary line is very useful in deciding in favor of any of the symbols and the receivers. Okay. So this much gap is very important. This much. Also, that's why I take this direct distance between these two. This distance is called this D minimum. Okay. This is going to be root 2 into EB. This one. This is called D minimum or having distance accordingly. Right. Let us look into the generation of BFSK signal, that is BFSK transmitter, based on the mathematical discussion made so far. Look at this one. This is a binary information which is converted to voltage values. So 1 is converted to root EV and 0 is converted to 0 using this level encoder. Okay. Since one of them is 0, it's called on-off keying technique or unipolar signaling. Okay. So now the sequence 1s and 0, which are in the form of root EV and 0, are given to two multipliers. Here, two multipliers. These two multipliers are product modulators, right? That means they are multiplying to do the modulation. They are called by name product modulators. But one of them is inverted and applied. Okay, this M of t becomes M bar of t. Why? Why? So let's see here. Look at this one. Assume that we are transmitting bit 1. Bit 1 becomes the root EV. So root EV is the bit 1, let us say. Bit 1 is applied here with the help of root EV. And the bit 1 here, which is root EV, is inverted to 0. So bit 1 is inverted to 0. Like that, this inverter is designed. Design inverter so that root EV gets converted to 0 value. And 0 value multiplies here, will get 0 here. But here, root EV into phi 1 half t will come out here. So root EV into phi 1 half t plus 0 will get root EV into phi 1 half t. So root EV amplitude into phi 1 half t represent your bit 1. Even though there are two parallel multipliers, there are two parallel channels, still the output comes only from one channel. Other one will be in 0. The same thing happens in the other case also. If you assume that this is 0, 0 represents here 0, 0 applied to the upper channel, output is 0. But this 0, when given to inverter, it is converted to root EV. Root EV multiplies with phi 2 of t. Here, root EV into phi 2 of t plus 0 is root EV into phi 2 of t. That means at the output of the transmitter, the signal is coming from only one of the channels, not both. One of them will be always 0. So if the signal is coming from the upper channel, the symbol transmitted is bit 1. Coming from the lower channel, transmitted bit is 0. Okay. The symbol 1 representation contains phi 1 of t. Symbol 2, that is 0 bit representation, consists of phi 2 of t. Keep this point in mind. So whatever I told so far is here. Same thing here. Level encoder and product modulators with phi 1 and phi 2 accordingly. So very important point to be noted here. The frequency of F1 is N1 by TV. Okay, TV is 1 bit duration. In 1 bit duration of the input signal, our sine wave is having more cycles. We have seen in the waveforms already that in 1 bit duration, there will be 3 cycles, 4 cycles, or 5 cycles like that. Okay, so when you are calculating frequency, okay, for example, if there are 5 cycles of sine waves, 5 cycles of sine waves in 1 TV, this N1 is 5. If there are 3 cycles of sine wave in 1 TV, then it is 3. So like that, this N1 and N2 are 2 integers but not equal, right? They are going to tell you how many cycles of sinusoidal signal are present in 1 TV. Right. So the same thing, what I have discussed earlier, is expressed in terms of cos 2 pi f1. So this phi 1 and phi 2 are basically sinusoidal signals. Let us come to the receiver part. BFSK detection. BFSK detection, nothing but BFSK reception, receiver. Okay. See, in this case, we are going to discuss about coherent detection. There are other techniques, okay, which involve non-coherent technique also, which will be discussed later. So first, let us know what is this BFSK coherent detection. So take the received signal, multiply with phi 1 of t once and phi 2 of t once parallel. Okay, because at this point of time I don't know which symbol was sent, symbol 1 or symbol 0. That's why to check out which symbol was sent, I have to multiply with phi 1 and phi 2 simultaneously. Because if the transmitted signal is bit 1, then it contains phi 1. If the transmitted bit is 0, it contains phi 2. So accordingly, when you multiply with phi 1 or phi 2 phi 2, so the corresponding multiplication will produce more output. Suppose the wrong basis functions are multiplied, different basis functions are multiplied, that will produce 0. Okay. If the incoming signal is bit 1, which contains phi 1 RT, then multiplying again with phi1 of t and integrating. As I said already, phi1 of t already multiplied the transmitter. Now we are multiplying the receiver. And if you integrate, we'll get one value, x1. x1 is having some voltage value. But the phi1 coming from input, when multiply with phi2, it will produce 0. Okay, it won't get absolute 0 here because there will be some noise component. The noise component is here is also there. So the signal component plus noise component is x1. Only noise component is x2. Obviously, x1 is more than x2. So the positive value is more, negative value is less. So y value is the difference of these two, x1 minus x2. So x1 is larger than x2. That's why this y is positive. When the y is positive, greater than 0, we choose in favor. We decide in favor of 1. Similarly, if it is 0, the symbol 0 is transmitted. What happens the time the transmitted signal contains phi2 of t? So phi2 multiplication and integration gives one good value of x2, and this goes to 0. Phi1 and phi2 multiplication integration goes to 0. So x1 is smaller, x2 is larger, positive value smaller, negative value larger, so y is negative. If y is less than, you choose in favor. So this is how this works. That's why the threshold is converted as taken as 0, because 1 will be positive, y will be positive sometimes, negative sometimes, depending on the symbol. That's so I guess you have understood of this one. Whatever the operation explained here is given in the form of equations here. X1 is multiplication of x of t and phi1 of t and integration. Similarly, x2 difference is y1 of t. So how to make a decision is shown here. So we shall confine our discussion of BFSK to transmission as well as reception. That means it is going to be generation and detection. Okay, so we shall end our session at this point because today's topic is not about error probability calculation of BFSK. It should be taken in the next video, which will be released very soon. So thank you very much.